When your dog follows you into the bathroom, most owners think they already know what it means. They laugh, call it clingy, or say, "My dog just loves me too much to leave me alone." And because it feels sweet, they stop questioning it. But that is exactly where this behavior gets misread. Because a dog following you into the bathroom is not always a sign of love. Sometimes, it is responding to something much simpler, much more automatic, and much easier to miss. It may not be following your heart. It may be following your movement. In this video, we're going to look at why dogs follow their owners into the bathroom and why this habit is often misunderstood as pure affection. Because in many cases, your dog is not just trying to be close to you. It may be tracking where you go, following a routine it has learned, reacting to a closed door, or keeping a small connection with you when you suddenly disappear from sight. And once you understand that, this everyday bathroom habit stops looking like a cute little joke and starts looking like a pattern your dog has been showing you all along. The reason this behavior gets misunderstood so easily is because it looks exactly like love. You stand up, you walk toward the bathroom, you open the door, and before you even turn around, your dog is already there, standing behind you, looking up at you, trying to come in, or waiting outside the door like you have just disappeared from the world. For most owners, that moment feels funny. It feels sweet. It feels like proof that your dog cannot stand being away from you, even for 1 minute. So people laugh and say things like, "My dog is obsessed with me. He follows me everywhere. She won't even let me go to the bathroom alone." And on the surface, that sounds harmless. Because yes, dogs can be deeply attached to their people. They can enjoy being near you. They can prefer your presence. They can follow you because you matter to them. But the mistake begins when you take that one emotional explanation and use it to explain the entire behavior. Because the moment you say, "He does this because he loves me," you may stop looking at everything else. You stop noticing what happened before he followed you. You stop noticing whether he follows you only to the bathroom or whether he follows every movement you make around the house. You stop noticing whether he is calm, curious, excited, or slightly anxious. You stop noticing whether you have been rewarding this behavior every time it happens. And that is where a cute moment can hide a real pattern. Because a dog following you to the bathroom does not always begin with affection. Sometimes, it begins with movement. You were still, then you stood up. The room was quiet, then something changed. You were in one place, then you started walking away. And for a dog, that change can be enough to pull its attention. Not because it is trying to make a dramatic statement about love, but because in your dog's world, your movement matters. Your body tells it something. Your direction tells it something. Your routine tells it something. And if your dog has learned that your movements often lead to food, attention, walks, play, doors opening, or interesting things happening, then standing up and walking away is not a small event. It is a signal. So when your dog follows you into the bathroom, the first question should not be, "Does my dog love me this much?" The better question is, what did my dog notice right before it followed me? Did it notice you stand up? Did it notice you walking toward a familiar door? Did it notice a routine it has seen hundreds of times before? Did it notice that you were about to disappear from sight? Because if you only look at the dog standing outside the bathroom, you see the end of the behavior. But if you want to understand it, you have to look at the beginning. And the beginning is often much simpler than people think. You moved. Your dog noticed. And it followed. That does not mean there is no connection. It does not mean your dog does not care about you. It means the behavior may not be as romantic as owners usually make it. It may be less about, "I cannot live without you," and more about, "You moved, and I want to know where you are going." That difference matters. Because once you see it this way, the bathroom is no longer just a funny private moment your dog interrupts. It becomes one small part of a bigger question. Is your dog following you because of love? Or because it has learned to track your movement? And to answer that, you have to look beyond the bathroom door. To understand why your dog follows you into the bathroom, you have to start before the bathroom, not at the door. Not when your dog is already standing there. Not when it is looking up at you, like it has been abandoned for 10 years. You have to start a few seconds earlier. You were sitting. Your dog may have been resting. The room may have been quiet. Then you stood up. That small moment matters more than most owners realize. Because to us, standing up is nothing. We stand up to get water, to check something, To answer the door? To go to the kitchen? To go to the bathroom? But to a dog, your body changing position can be a signal. A quiet room suddenly changes. The person it pays attention to is now moving. The pattern of the room shifts. And many dogs are very sensitive to that. They notice when you lean forward. They notice when you push the chair back. They notice when you take a step toward the hallway. They notice when your attention leaves the room before your body does. So when your dog follows you, it may not be thinking in the emotional way people imagine. It may not be saying, "I love you so much that I cannot be away from you." It may simply be responding to a change. You moved. And because you moved, the dog checked where you were going. That is a much less romantic explanation, but it is often much closer to how the behavior actually works. Dogs live by patterns. They watch small signals. They connect repeated events. They learn what usually comes next. If you stand up and walk toward the kitchen, food might happen. If you stand up and walk toward the door, a walk might happen. If you grab your keys, you might leave. If you pick up the leash, everything changes. If you walk down the hallway, there may be a room, a sound, a door, or a moment worth checking. So movement is not empty to your dog. Movement is information. And if your dog is already tuned into you, your movement becomes something it wants to follow. This is why some dogs seem to follow before you even call them. You do not say anything. You do not invite them. You do not make eye contact. But the moment you stand, they stand. The moment you turn, they turn. The moment you walk, they are behind you. To the owner, that can look like pure devotion. And yes, there may be attachment inside it. But the first trigger may be much simpler. Your dog has learned that your movement often predicts something. Something interesting. Something social. Something worth knowing. So it follows. This is why the sentence, "My dog follows me to the bathroom because it loves me," is not completely wrong, but it is incomplete. Because love does not explain the timing. Love does not explain why the dog gets up the moment you get up. Love does not explain why it follows you to the kitchen, to the hallway, to the bedroom, to the front door, and then also to the bathroom. The timing tells you something else. The dog is watching your movement pattern. It is not only attached to you emotionally, it is tracking you behaviorally. And that is the part many owners miss. Because when something feels cute, we often stop asking what started it. We focus on the dog standing at the bathroom door. But the real clue happened earlier. The clue was the moment your body changed. The clue was the direction you walked. The clue was that your dog has seen this sequence before. You stand up. You walk away. You disappear somewhere. And the dog follows the sequence. Not always, because it is panicking. Not always because it needs you every second. But because following you has become part of how it reads the house. In your dog's mind, you are not just a person. You are also a moving point in the environment. Where you go can change what happens next. That is why some dogs keep you in view. They may not need to be touching you. They may not need you to talk to them. They may not even need to enter the bathroom. They just want to know where you went. This is where the behavior starts to look different. Because a dog that follows you into the bathroom may not be trying to invade your privacy. It may be keeping track of the most important moving thing in the house. You. And once you understand that, the behavior becomes less mysterious. Your dog is not only asking, "Can I be with you?" Sometimes it is asking, "Where did you go?" And those are not the same question. Block 3. The bathroom may only be one part of a bigger pattern. Now here is where many owners make the second mistake. They isolate the bathroom. They think the bathroom is the whole behavior. They say, "My dog follows me to the bathroom." But the real question is, does your dog only follow you to the bathroom? Or does it follow you everywhere? Because if your dog follows you into the kitchen, into the bedroom, to the front door, to the couch, to the laundry room, and then also to the bathroom, then the bathroom is probably not the real story. It is just one stop in a larger pattern. Your dog is not specifically obsessed with the bathroom. It may simply have a habit of following your movement through the house. And because the bathroom is private, closed, and slightly funny to humans, we notice it more. We turn it into a joke. We say, "I can't even pee alone." But from the dog's side, this may not be a bathroom habit. It may be a tracking habit. It may be the same behavior that happens in every room, but the bathroom makes it feel more obvious. This distinction matters. Because if you only focus on the bathroom, You may misunderstand the entire pattern. You may think, this is proof my dog loves me so much. But if the dog also follows every time you stand up, every time you change rooms, every time you open a door, and every time you disappear from view, then the better explanation may be, my dog has learned to follow my movement as part of its daily routine. That does not make it bad. It just makes it different. A pattern is not the same as a deep emotional statement. A pattern can include affection, but it can also include habit, curiosity, attention, and expectation. For example, think about what happens in a normal day. You stand up in the morning, and something happens. Food may happen. A walk may happen. A door may open. You stand up later, and something else happens. Maybe you go to the kitchen. Maybe you get a snack. Maybe you talk to your dog. Maybe you pick something up. Maybe you leave the room and come back. Over time, your dog learns that your movement often matters. So it starts checking. Not because every movement is dramatic, but because enough of your movements have led to something meaningful before. This is how ordinary routines become important to dogs. They do not need one big event. They learn from repetition. The same hallway, the same door, the same sound, the same body movement, the same moment where you leave the room. And the more often a pattern repeats, the more automatic the dog's response can become. That is why your dog may follow you before it even knows where you are going. It is not making a complicated decision. It is following a learned rhythm. You move, it follows. You pause, it waits. You open the door, it tries to come closer. You close the door, it stays outside. Then you come back. And the next day, the same thing happens again. This is why the bathroom habit can feel so strong. Not because the bathroom is emotionally magical, but because it is part of a routine that repeats again and again. And if you have ever laughed, talked to your dog, opened the door, made eye contact, or reacted warmly when it followed you, then you may have strengthened that pattern without noticing. From your side, it was just a cute moment. From the dog's side, it may have been a successful behavior. It followed you. You noticed. That is enough for many dogs. Attention does not always have to be big. It can be a laugh, a glance, a few words, a hand reaching down, a door opening slightly. If the dog gets a response, the behavior has a reason to return. So now the bathroom habit is not just about movement. It is movement plus routine. Routine plus attention. Attention plus répétition. And repetition turns small behaviors into habits. That is why some dogs do it every single day. Not because every day they are making a fresh, emotional declaration, but because the sequence has become familiar. You walk toward the bathroom. The dog follows. You react. The door closes. The dog waits. You come back. The pattern completes. And once something becomes a pattern, the dog does not need to think very hard. It just does what it has learned to do. This is the part that changes how you read the behavior. Instead of asking, why does my dog love me so much that it follows me here? You can ask, what pattern has my dog learned around my movement? Does it follow only when you go to the bathroom? Does it follow any time you stand up? Does it follow more when you are about to leave the house? Does it follow more when it expects food, attention, or a walk? Does it stay calm if the door closes? Does it wait quietly? Or does it become tense? These questions give you a much clearer answer than simply saying, it is love. Because love is too broad. It can cover everything, and because it covers everything, it can stop you from seeing the details. The detail is the pattern, and in this video, that is what matters most. Not whether the behavior is cute. It is cute. Not whether your dog cares about you. It probably does. But if you want to understand what is actually happening, you have to look at the repeated sequence. Your movement, your dog's attention, the closed door, your reaction, the habit that forms around all of it, because once you see the pattern, you stop reading the bathroom moment as one simple sign of love. You start seeing it as a small daily routine. Your dog may have been practicing for a long time, and there is one part of this routine that makes the bathroom different from every other room. The door, because when you enter the bathroom, you do not just move away, you disappear. The bathroom is not just another room. To you, it is ordinary. You go in, you close the door, you do what you need to do, then you come back out. Nothing dramatic happened. But from your dog's point of view, something very clear changed. You were visible, then you were not. You were moving through the house. Then a barrier appeared between you and the dog. And that barrier can make the behavior feel stronger. Because in most rooms, your dog can still see you. If you go to the kitchen, it can follow you and watch what you are doing. If you go to the couch, it can lie nearby. If you walk into the bedroom, the door may stay open. But the bathroom is different. The bathroom often creates a sudden break in access. 1 second, your dog is tracking where you are going. The next second, you are behind a closed door. And for many dogs, that change is enough to create curiosity. Not panic. Not necessarily anxiety. Just curiosity. Where did you go? Why did the door close? Why can I hear you, but not see you? Why did the person I was following suddenly disappear? This is why some dogs do not just follow you to the bathroom. They stop at the door. They sniff near the gap. They wait outside. They tilt their head. They scratch once or twice. They look confused, as if the door itself has interrupted the story. And in a way, it has. Because your dog may have been following a simple sequence. You stood up. You walked. It followed. But then the door added a new piece. You disappeared. That disappearance matters. A closed door can turn an ordinary movement into an unfinished moment. The dog was tracking you, but now it cannot complete the tracking. It knows you went somewhere, but it cannot see what you are doing. It knows you are near, but it cannot access you. It hears sounds, smells familiar smells, maybe sees light under the door, but the visual information is gone. So the bathroom becomes more interesting than other rooms. Not because it understands privacy the way humans do, not because it thinks the bathroom is special, but because the bathroom creates a gap. And dogs often respond to gaps. A door that closes, a person that disappears, a routine that is interrupted, a familiar movement that suddenly ends behind a barrier. That is why the behavior can look so intense. The dog is not necessarily saying, "I cannot live without you." It may be saying, "Wait, I was following that. Where did it go?" This is a very different reading, and it is much more useful. Because when you understand the role of the door, you stop interpreting the entire behavior as emotional dependence. You start seeing the physical setup, the movement, the barrier, the disappearance, the curiosity, the waiting, and all of those details matter. They tell you whether your dog is relaxed, curious, excited, or uncomfortable. For example, a calm dog may follow you to the door, wait quietly, then walk away. That can be simple curiosity. A more attached dog may sit outside the door, not upset, just waiting for you to come back. That can be connection. But a dog that becomes frantic, scratches hard, whines, pants, pass, or cannot settle when the door closes, may be showing something different. That is why you should not judge the behavior only by whether the dog follows. You have to look at what happens after the door closes. Does your dog wait calmly? Does it lose interest? Does it lie down? Does it sniff and move on? Or does the closed door make its whole body change? That difference is important, because the same behavior on the outside can come from different states on the inside. Two dogs can both follow their owner to the bathroom. One is curious. One is connected. One is expecting attention. One is uncomfortable with separation. From the outside, they look similar. But the body language after the door closes tells a different story. This is where many owners miss the real meaning. They see the dog outside the bathroom and say, "Look, he loves me so much." But they do not ask, is he calm while waiting? Is he curious but relaxed? Is he frustrated because the door blocked him? Is he anxious because I disappeared? Those questions matter more than the joke, because the bathroom habit is not one behavior. It is a cluster of small signals. The follow, the pause, the door, the wait, the reaction, the return. And if you only label the whole thing as love, you miss the details that actually explain it. This is why the closed door is such an important part of the behavior. It reveals something, not because the bathroom is special, but because the door creates a small test. Can your dog stay calm when you are out of sight for a moment? Can it handle a barrier between you? Can it remain connected without needing access? Can it wait without escalating? The answer to those questions tells you far more than the fact that it followed you, because following you is only the first part. What happens when it cannot follow you any further is often the part that matters most. Now, none of this means your dog does not care about you. That would be the wrong conclusion. The point is not to take the warmth out of the behavior. The point is to read it more accurately. Because yes, for many dogs, following you to the bathroom does include connection. Your dog may like being near you. It may feel comfortable around you. It may prefer to keep you in sight. It may see you as one of the most important parts of its world. And that matters. A dog does not usually track someone it does not care about at all. It does not usually follow a person who means nothing to it. So yes, there can be affection here. There can be attachment. There can be trust, routine, comfort, and a small desire to stay connected. But connection is not the same as the story most owners tell themselves. Connection does not always mean, my dog loves me so much it cannot be away from me. Sometimes connection is quieter than that. It is simply the dog wanting to know where you are. It is the dog keeping a light thread between you. It is the dog choosing to stay aware of you, even when nothing exciting is happening. That is still meaningful. But it is not the same as pure devotion. And it is not the same as separation distress. This is where the reading has to become more careful. Because if you call every follow behavior love, you may miss the moments when your dog is actually relaxed. And you may also miss the moments when your dog is not relaxed at all. A calm dog following you is one thing. A dog that cannot settle when you disappear is another. A dog that waits softly outside the door, then moves on, is not the same as a dog that cries, scratches, and panics the moment the door shuts. Those are different states. And different states need different responses. If your dog follows you, waits quietly, then goes back to resting, you may simply be seeing a normal connection pattern. It noticed you move. It checked where you went. It stayed near for a moment. Then it relaxed. That is usually not a problem. But if your dog becomes tense every time it cannot see you, that is something to observe more closely. Not because you should panic. Not because one bathroom habit means your dog has separation anxiety, but because the body tells you whether the behavior is light or heavy. Look at the body. Is the mouth soft? Is the breathing normal? Can the dog sit or lie down? Can it leave the door? Can it return to its own activity? Or does it stay locked on the door? Does it whine? Does it scratch? Does it pace? Does it pant, even though nothing else is happening? Does it seem unable to settle until you come back out? That difference changes the meaning. Because the question is not simply, did my dog follow me? The better question is, what state was my dog in while following me? That is where the real answer begins. A dog can follow from curiosity. A dog can follow from habit. A dog can follow from expectation. A dog can follow from connection. A dog can follow from stress. The behavior may look similar at the start, but the state underneath is not the same. This is why the bathroom example is so useful. It is small. It is daily. It is familiar. But it can show you how quickly people turn behavior into a story. The dog follows. The owner says, it is love. And maybe part of it is, but maybe another part is movement. Another part is routine. Another part is curiosity. Another part is a closed door. Another part is attention the dog has learned to expect. And sometimes, a small part may be discomfort when access to you is blocked. This does not make the behavior bad. It makes it more interesting. It means your dog is not just doing one simple thing for one simple reason. It is responding to a whole context. And when you start reading the context, you become much better at understanding your dog. You no longer need to choose between two extreme explanations. You do not have to say, it is only love, and you do not have to say, it has nothing to do with love. The better answer is more honest. It can include love, but love may not be the whole mechanism. It can include connection, but connection may be mixed with habit. It can look cute, but the state behind it still matters. That is the reading most owners miss. Because the cute version is easier. It feels good. It makes a better joke. It makes the owner feel chosen. But the accurate version helps you understand the dog in front of you. And that is the point. Not to make the behavior less special, but to stop making it mean only one thing. Because when your dog follows you into the bathroom, the most important question is not, does this prove my dog loves me? The more useful question is, what is my dog actually responding to right now? Your movement? The routine? The door? The attention? The need to keep you in sight? Or a quiet little thread of connection? When you ask that question, you stop guessing, and you start observing. This is where the biggest mistake becomes clear. Most owners do not just notice the behavior. They turn it into a story. My dog follows me to the bathroom because he loves me. My dog cannot live without me. My dog is obsessed with me. My dog is more attached than other dogs. And again, there may be some truth inside that. But the problem is not that the story is always false. The problem is that the story is too simple. It takes one behavior and turns it into one emotional meaning. But dog behavior usually does not work that way. A single behavior can come from several things at once. Your dog may follow you because it likes being near you, but also because it saw you move. And because that movement has a pattern, and because the door creates curiosity, and because you have reacted to the behavior many times before, and because staying aware of you is part of how it moves through the house. That is very different from saying, it is just love, because just love closes the question. It stops the observation. It makes the owner feel good, but it does not always help the owner understand. And the goal is not to remove the love from the behavior. The goal is to stop using love as the only explanation. Because when you do that, you may miss the real pattern your dog is showing you. For example, one dog may follow its owner to the bathroom, sit quietly outside, then walk away after a few seconds. That dog may simply be curious. Another dog may follow, wait at the door, then relax when it hears the owner inside. That dog may be keeping a light connection. Another dog may follow every movement all day long, never settle, unless the owner sits still, and become tense every time the owner leaves the room. That may be something different. Another dog may only follow to the bathroom, because every time it did, someone laughed, talked to it, or opened the door. That may be learned attention. From the outside, all of these dogs may look like they are doing the same thing. They follow. They stand near the door. They look at the owner. But underneath, the meaning can be different. That is why you cannot read this behavior from one moment alone. You have to read the pattern. How often does it happen? Does it happen only at the bathroom? Or everywhere? Does your dog look relaxed? Does it recover quickly? Does it stay calm when the door closes? Does it demand access? Does it wait softly? Does it become frustrated? Does it become anxious? Does it do this more at certain times of day? Does it do it more when it expects something from you? These details are where the real meaning lives. Not in the label, not in the joke, not in the easy sentence, my dog just loves me too much. Because two dogs can love their owners deeply and still behave very differently. One may follow everywhere. One may not. One may wait outside the bathroom. One may stay on the couch. One may check where you went, then return to sleeping. One may not care at all because it already feels safe. So if your dog does not follow you to the bathroom, that does not mean it loves you less. And if your dog does follow you, that does not automatically mean it loves you more. That is an important point. Because many owners accidentally use clingy behavior as proof of deeper love. They think more following means more affection. More waiting means more loyalty. More neediness means more bond. But that is not always true. Sometimes a secure dog does not need to follow every movement. Sometimes a confident dog can let you leave the room. Sometimes a dog with a strong bond can stay relaxed because it already knows you come back. So the absence of following is not rejection. And the presence of following is not always devotion. The real question is the state behind the behavior. A calm dog that follows you is different from a tense dog that follows you. A curious dog waiting at the door is different from a distressed dog stuck at the door. A dog that checks in and leaves is different from a dog that cannot disengage. That is why the bathroom habit is useful. It gives you a small daily window into how your dog reads you. Not just how much it loves you, but how it tracks movement, how it handles closed doors, how it responds to routine, how it manages being out of sight, how it keeps connection, and how it reacts when access to you changes. Once you start seeing that, the behavior becomes much richer. It is no longer just a funny moment. It becomes a small clue. A clue about routine, a clue about attention, a clue about curiosity, a clue about connection, and sometimes, a clue about stress. That does not mean you need to overanalyze every time your dog walks behind you. You do not need to turn every bathroom trip into a behavioral case study. But you should stop assuming the answer too quickly. Because the fastest way to misunderstand a dog is to take a behavior that feels emotional to you and explain it only through human emotion. To you, the moment may feel like, he loves me so much. To your dog, the moment may be more like, you moved. Where are you going? Why did the door close? Can I still keep track of you? Will something happen next? Those are different layers. And if you can see those layers, you can understand your dog more clearly. You can enjoy the sweetness of the moment without being trapped by the easiest explanation. You can smile when your dog follows you, but you can also notice whether it is relaxed. You can laugh at the bathroom habit, but you can also notice whether the behavior is part of a bigger pattern. You can feel loved, but you can still ask, what is my dog actually responding to? That is the balance. Not cold, not overly romantic, just accurate. Because the better you read the pattern, the better you understand the dog. Ending. So the next time your dog follows you into the bathroom, do not rush to label it. Do not immediately turn it into proof that your dog loves you more than anything in the world. And do not dismiss it as meaningless either. Pause for a second. Look at the whole picture. Did your dog follow because you stood up? Did it follow because this is part of a daily routine? Did the closed door make it curious? Did it expect attention? Did it simply want to keep a small connection with you? Or did it seem genuinely uncomfortable when it could not see you anymore? That is where the real answer is. Not in the fact that your dog followed you, but in how it followed, how it waited, how it reacted, and how quickly it could settle again. Because your dog may love you, it may enjoy being near you, it may want to know where you are, but that does not mean every step behind you is a dramatic sign of devotion. Sometimes, your dog is not following your heart. It is following your movement. Sometimes, it is following a routine. Sometimes, it is following a pattern you helped create without realizing it. And sometimes, under all of that, there is still a quiet little connection, but you only see that clearly when you stop forcing the behavior into one simple story. So yes, it is cute when your dog follows you to the bathroom, but the real question is not whether it is cute. The real question is, what has your dog learned to watch in you? Your movement? Your routine? Your attention? Your disappearance behind a door? Or the small signals that tell it where you are in its world? When you begin to notice that, this everyday habit stops being just a joke. It becomes one of the simplest ways to see how closely your dog has been reading you all along.